Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
U.S. trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding.
That is it.
It's over.
Coming up, so KP, don't you regret not coming to the net? Don't you regret not coming to the net?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. The Yankees win, and they advance to the American League Championship with a huge Game 4 performance from Gerrit Cole. And we will talk about that in this episode. Folks, welcome to the episode. Welcome to episode 723 of the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. Your New York Yankees are 4 wins away from a World Series appearance. 4. One more series to get through. And they're in a World Series, which they haven't been there since 2009. That was when they won the World Series, folks. Welcome to the podcast. Episode 723. It is Sunday, October 13th, so it's a few days after this victory. I've just been very busy over the weekend, so I didn't have time. But the Yankees completed the first round. They defeat the Kansas City Royals in 4 games, a gentleman's sweep. They won this series behind their pitching and lineup depth, I would say. I thought the rotation was enough. Gerrit Cole had a bad start on Saturday, game 1, but a bad start for him is 5 innings, 4 runs, 3 earned runs. So it was still manageable for the Yankees to pick up the win. And then he rebounded with a gem in this game, which we're going to talk about. Clark Schmidt was solid in his first postseason start. The bullpen was amazing this entire series. We will talk on them. The bats have to be better, but it kind of went in reverse order of what most Yankees fans thought. Not me, but like in regards to how they got their offense. It was the depth that produced, right? Giancarlo Stanton was awesome. Juan Soto got on base and he produced runs. Anthony Volpe was solid. Even first base gave you production. Those guys, Cabrera, Birdie, they got on base. Torres continued to be solid at the top of the lineup. He had the home run in game 1. He got on base throughout the series. He has the first pitch double in game 4 to start things off. And then you get to the bad. Yes, like Judge did not produce. Jazz Chisholm wasn't great. Austin Wells was bad. Alex Verdugo kind of tapered off. But it starts with Judge. And maybe, some of the offensive, I don't know if this is a word, inexecution. Maybe some of the offensive woes, the Yankees' situational hitting problems and just not producing a ton was due to the 5-day layoff, having 2 games in 9 days. Regardless, yes, the bats do have to be better, but the Yankees won this behind their lineup depth and their pitching. And game 4 specifically, you had Gerrit Cole going up against Michael Wacha, righty on righty in this series. In this game, game 4, Gerrit Cole versus Michael Wacha. And Gerrit Cole outlasted him. Top of the first inning, Juan Soto with a base hit to put the Yanks up 1-0. Top 5, Torres with a base hit to make it 2-0. Stanton picks up a base hit in the 6th inning. It's 3-0 Yankees. Bottom 6, Vinny Pasquantino with a double to make it 3-1. But that'd be it for KC, and the Yankees would win 3-1. Their bats produced 3 runs on 8 hits, 3 of them doubles, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, 2 double plays grounded into, and they were 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Against Michael Wacha, they scored 2 runs in 4 2/3. I thought they did a nice job in this start versus Wacha adjusting to his changeup, which gave them some problems. But they bounced back nicely, and they kind of started hitting the changeup. And against the Kansas City bullpen, the Yankees mustered up 1 run in 4 1/3. For the Yankees' arms, they went Cole to Holmes to Weaver. Pretty simple, very simple. And they combined for 9 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. And that was the formula. And this Yankees team is a Yankees team that's going to be very tough to beat in a 7-game series, I believe. They got through the 5, but I think with their depth, they're going to be tough to beat through 7. They used 2 first basemen in this series. Not one of them was their starting first baseman, right? They won the series without using Jason Dominguez for a single at-bat. They won the series without having the potential rookie of the year throw a single inning or a pitch. They won the series where they didn't have to use all of their bullpen bunch. You know, some of their secondary arms, like Tim Hill, was only used for an inning. Ian Hamilton was only used for a little bit more than that. Jay Cousins was only, I think he was only used for 1 out. So he kept those guys fresh. And you had the 3 days off anyway, but credit to Boone. You know, I think Boone really pushed the right buttons in this series. And this is something we've been talking about throughout the ALDS. But yeah, I think Boone did all the right things. You know, in one of our preview episodes, I was saying like the Yankees have the pieces to the puzzle, but the guy who's operating the puzzle isn't always the smartest. But you know what? I'll take that back, because in this series, I thought Boone did the right things. I thought he did the right things regarding the lineup. I thought Verdugo paid off in left field, at least. He played good defense out there. And he gave you some good at-bats at the beginning of the series. I thought Birdie and Cabrera played really sharp first base. You know, John Birdie is out there looking like a hockey goalie. You know, he turns a big double play in Game 4. Oswaldo Cabrera had some very nice picks in the couple games that you saw him at first base. And, you know, those guys credited Anthony Rizzo for teaching them. He was working with them throughout this series. So, you know, those moves paid off. I thought it was a good move to not pinch run for Stanton too early in Game 3. Although, you know, if there are some nitpicks, I did think in Game 4 they pinch ran for him a little early. Yeah, you had 2 outs in the inning. Stanton was on first. Going to put Duke Ellis out there. The next batter gets out, so it was obviously didn't hurt in the end, but maybe that's a nitpick. The Dominguez, I would like to see him get a start, but maybe that's a nitpick because you are worried about left field. And Dominguez didn't hit. And maybe move Wells off of cleanup. That's my only nitpick. His at-bats have been horrendous for a while. But maybe you don't want to stack lefties, so you put him a little further down. But I thought he handled the lineup well, aside from a couple of things like that, which, again, those are nitpicks. I thought the rotation was handled well. The decision to go to Clark Schmidt for Game 3, I liked it at the time. You know, the Yankees obviously are a little concerned with Luis Seal's command and control. So they went after the loss with Clark Schmidt. You know, and he got the job done. And I had no big issues with the length that the starters went. You know, listen, the first 3 games, Cole, Rodon, Schmidt, neither of them were super effective enough to go deeper into the game, right? Cole was giving up tons of hard contact, mislocating everything in the first game. Rodon obviously had the implosion in the fourth inning of game 2. And then Clark Schmidt, I thought he was pulled at the perfect time in game 3. And then game 4, Cole's on point, so he lets him go deep. He lets him go a full 7. Let him go the full 7, and I had no problem pulling him after that. Because that fly out scared the crap out of every Yankees fan. The bullpen was handled well. You know, I thought the Holmes moves were paying off. I think we were all a little scared of it at first. But, hey, he said he's going to go to Clay Holmes in high leverage. He did, and it worked. I like that he wasn't afraid to go to Luke Weaver often. When he had to go to him, he went to him. He didn't hesitate one bit. He used him a lot. But at the same time, again, he got through round 1 without burning everybody. Like, he kept Cousins fresh off the injury. I think that's going to be huge in this second round coming up. You're going to see some Jay Cousins maybe. Ian Hamilton, again, that's a good thing. So credit to Aaron Boone. The bullpen was lights out. 15 2/3 innings from the pen. Just 1 run allowed. It was an unearned run. So it wasn't even on their line. 8 hits, 4 walks, 15 strikeouts, and a 0.77 whip in the ALDS for the bullpen. I thought their control was amazing. They were not walking many batters at all. They did a very nice job throwing strikes and limiting traffic. I thought they were mixing and matching well with their pitches. Clay Holmes with 4 scoreless outings. He was dotting the sinker with high velo on it. On the edges. Again, his confidence is back with the sinker. And when he's got the confidence in that pitch, he's able to go to his slider more effectively. When he's locating the sinker well, he can go to the slider out of the zone and have it work. So you saw that in game 4 where he went slider very often because he was locating that sinker. But he even flashed his 4-seam fastball, which I don't think he threw a single 4-seamer in the regular season. He threw one to Freeze Garcia for a strike 3 in this game, which was nice to see. I would like to see him use the 4-seamer often because Clay Holmes is a guy who can often lose control. And, his pitches have a lot of movement to it. So, you need strikes sometimes. Throw the 4-seamer. You don't always need movement on your pitches. So I liked seeing him flash that against Garcia there. Luke Weaver, 4 scoreless outings. How many closers can give you multiple innings like he can? He goes 2 changeups in a row to retire Vinny Pasquantino in this game. He was running the 4-seam up in the zone, over the zone. Tommy Kahnle with 3 scoreless outings in this series, using the changeup versus lefties very effectively. Lefties in game 3 went 0 for 3 on the changeup. He's been solid. And again, Tim Hill was used on Saturday, game 1, and he was getting ground balls with his 2-seamer. So I really like the mixing and matching of the bullpen in terms of their pitch mix. But man, let's just go back to this game specifically and talk about Gerrit Cole, because Gerrit Cole proving to the world that he's still top-notch. At the end of the regular season there, you had the Devers 4 fingers game, but he bounces back significantly with 2 gems against Oakland and Baltimore. Then he goes into game 1 of the DS, and he struggles a little bit, but he still keeps the Yankees in the game, and they won that game. And so he goes into game 4, and he completes the biggest win of the season with an outing that gave him 7 innings, 1 run, 6 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts, no home runs allowed, and the win. Gerrit Cole was brilliant, man. Ace type shit, showing that he's still one of the best. The Yankees very much in this game needed a big performance, someone to bring them home, and Gerrit Cole delivered. He still got some hard contact in this game too, but he was in the zone with command, so he wasn't leaving pitches in bad spots, which led to quick innings. Very quick and efficient innings. He pitches 2 perfect innings to start the game. Bottom 3, he does give up the leadoff base hit to Tommy Pham, who was a thorn in his side all night, but gets a couple ground outs after that, and he strikes out Massey on 3 fastballs to end the inning. He goes 1 cutter and then 2 four-seamers. Bottom 4, he goes 1, 2, 3. Bottom 5, just the Tommy Pham base hit. Bottom 6 was probably his worst inning. He allows 3 hits, a run scored with the Vinny Pasquantino double, but with the runner on second base in a 2-run game, he gets Salvi Perez to pop up. So then he finishes in the 7th there. So his final line, 7 innings, 1 run, was very effective. Just a brilliant gem. 87 pitches, 48 four-seamer, 17 cutter, 15 curve, 6 sinker, and 1 changeup. I thought his four-seam fastball was very crisp. I loved the velo on it. Constantly sitting 97, 98. The movement was back. In game 1, I thought his fastball was a little bit flat. I thought in this game, the movement on it was very good. It had some ride, some run to it. But to see the velo, it seems like he preserved a little bit in the regular season. He was more 94, 95, 96. In these 2 postseason starts, you're seeing a lot of 96 to 98. So it seemed like he preserved a little bit for the postseason. As he's getting older, that's what he's going to do. But yeah, the four-seamer looked great. He was attacking up in the zone, over the zone. Bottom of the 1st, he gets the called strike 3 to Vinny Pasquantino. Goes 97 low in the zone. Bottom 3, he gets the swinging strikeout to Massey with an elevated 96 on top of the zone. He quieted Yuli Gurriel with his fastball all night. Yuli goes 0 for 4 in this game, and that's after having a pretty big series. He got on, I think he got on base 3 times game 1 Saturday. He has the base hit during the Rodon implosion on Monday, game 2, and then versus Clark Schmidt in game 3, he has the double. But I thought Gerrit Cole handled him very well with his four-seam fastball. And the cut fastball was a key pitch. This is a key pitch for him, and it's going to continue to be a key pitch for Gerrit as we continue on in this postseason here. This is a pitch that I've never loved for him ever since Matt Blake incorporated it into his arsenal, kind of replaced the sinker with the cutter. But it's worked for a little bit now. In his last 7 starts, including the regular season and postseason, opposing hitters are 5 for 26 on the cutter. That's a 192 average and a 192 slugging, which means they have 0 extra base hits on it. So it's a pitch that he's locating better. He's throwing a little bit harder, but he's going to the cutter a lot more. The cutter's become his go-to off speed. He's gone less slider this year and more cutter. Actually, I don't think he threw a single slider in this start. He went to the cutter instead. He escapes a jam in the 6th inning, going with a cutter outside to Salvi Perez, gets him the pop up. So it's a pitch that's going to continue to be key for him. He's just got to continue to locate that thing and, clip the edges with it. The curveball was effective. It's been an effective pitch for him lately. Bottom 5, he gets the swinging strikeout to Isbell with the curveball to erase the Pham 2-out base hit. And then he induces the ground ball double play in the bottom of the 6th, going to a curveball there after a leadoff base hit. That's a pitch he's been going to a lot against right-handed batters, which is very interesting, but it's been working for him. And, it was all in all a very effective start. It was a very nice sigh of relief after seeing that terrifying Kyle Isbell fly out to Soto there. That took him all the way to the wall. To see Soto get glove on that ball and catch it, just, that's why I had no issue pulling Cole after that. But all in all, it's nice to see the best pitcher on the team be the best pitcher on the team, which means going to the lineup in this next upcoming series, the Yankees are absolutely going to need their best bat to be their best bat. And that's where we start looking at Aaron Judge. Maybe Judge is warming up. If you want to talk yourself into some positives, he did have a 389 on base percentage in the series. He didn't get a ton of pitches to hit, but there were still a lot of pitches that he was missing. You know, he did double in game 4. He got on base a couple times in game 3. He's been hitting the ball very hard in the last couple games. But we are at a point now where we're going to need results in the LCS. You know, there's not going to be any more, well, he got on base, he hit the ball hard. Like, the Yankees are going to need Aaron Judge to slug, hit home runs, produce runs in this next series. That it's as simple as that. What they're doing right now is not sustainable. Aaron Judge cannot be carried. Aaron Judge has to carry. He's been getting bailed out by some of the depth in the lineup, by Giancarlo Stanton. Right? And, you know, I guess that's when I guess we'll get to that now. Giancarlo Stanton, I'm going to tip my cap. We are doing 1 cap tip per series, and it's only going to 1 Yankee. That's how we're going to do this in the playoffs. But Giancarlo Stanton, tipping my cap to him. Obviously, he was fantastic in this series. He goes 6 for 16. That's a 375 average, an 1132 OPS, 2 doubles, a home run, 4 RBIs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a run scored, 11 total bases, and he stole a base across 4 games. So, good for Giancarlo Stanton. 444 on base, a 686 slug, or 688 slug. Yeah. He was tremendous, hitting the ball super hard, clutch, timely hits. This guy he doesn't feel pressure. And we talked a lot about it in the previous episodes. But playoff Stanton's real. He's real. And this is what makes the contract worth it to me. I believe that this contract he's being paid is 100% justified because of what he does in October. I'm sorry. And if you don't think so, if you think otherwise, I really have to start questioning your priorities as a Yankees fan. Because we're supposed to care about the postseason. And you're going to tell me you don't think Stanton's contract is worth it because of some regular season garbage? The guy produces in the only season that matters. And he does it all the time. So if this guy continues to do what he's been doing in the ALCS coming up, yeah, this contract is beyond worth it. So I love what Stanton's been doing. When we get back from break, we're going to head to a break. I do want to talk about one guy who I think didn't tear the cover off the ball in terms of the results this past series, but I think this guy could be a big factor going into the ALCS. So we'll talk about that when we return from our first break here.
Hey there, thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4.
Anthony Volpe, I think, could be an X-Factor in this upcoming series. Now, obviously, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, but if you get results from Anthony Volpe at the bottom of that order for a guy who can steal bases and advance into scoring position for you, if you start to get, like, the ALDS numbers were not crazy in either direction. They weren't terrible. They weren't great. 250 average, 688 OPS, a 438 on base in 4 games. But I was just encouraged with the at-bats that I saw. I really, like, a lot of deep counts, you know, a lot of the contact that was in play, it was middle to right field. You know, a lot of hard contact hits, a lot of hard contact outs. You saw a lot of the pitches he was spitting on some really tough, close pitches, some tough takes on breaking balls, on fastballs, inside, outside. You know, Walker was pitching on the edges to him. He had some tough takes against him, against Schreiber, even Reagan's. There's this one at bat where he dots a fastball low and away. I think the second time he pitched, and Volpe takes it for a walk. I saw some really good at bats from Anthony Volpe, and I think that's eventually gonna get some results here. And again, if Anthony Volpe is getting on base for this lineup, wherever he's hitting, somewhere at the bottom of the order, I think it was he 8th this series? Whew. You know, that's right before the top of the order. And you got Torres, who's been getting on base, and now you're getting to Soto and Judge with Anthony Volpe on second or third. You know, like, that's going to produce runs. So I think that's why Anthony Volpe's got to be an X-Factor entering the next series against Cleveland, which that's our new dance partner, folks. That's who we have. Cleveland is coming up next. They have won in 5 games. They won in 5 games after an ALDS that, you know, a lot of people didn't think they'd come out of at one point. They were down 2-1 going into Game 4. And then they win Game 4. You know, this is after Clase blows a save. You got to face Tarek Skubal in Game 5. Now, like, it's a lot of stuff happened that people just thought Detroit was going to take it. They were riding the hot hand. But you get a big grand slam from Lane Thomas to break the tie off of Skubal. And all of a sudden, now the Yankees are going to have to be ready for Cleveland. And I'm not afraid. But at the same time, you know, there are some things that, you know, Jose Ramirez scares me. Steven Kwan has had some big hits against the Yankees. Naylor has had some big hits against the Yankees. These teams have a history in the playoffs. The Guardians have an outstanding bullpen. It's the number 1 bullpen in baseball, in my opinion. I mean, Clase, you got him in the back end. Cade Smith had a very good year. Gaddis had a good year. That guy Herron's a tough lefty. You know, so if the Yankees want to get offense, it's going to have to come early, and they're going to have to hammer that rotation. You know, Cleveland is a team that should at least be respected more than Detroit and Kansas City, in my opinion, just because they are a division winner. They've been here before and often. Like, they didn't just get hot at the end. You know, this isn't the Tigers. But at the same time, you got to be the Yankees. You know, this is the Yankees. You're heavily favored. You're expected to make the World Series this year. And you look at the other side for Cleveland, their lineup sucks. Like, they have a very bad lineup at the end of the day. There's no depth there. This season, they were 14th in runs. They were 17th in OPS. On their entire roster this year, they had 5 guys with an OPS plus of 100, just 5. One of them only played 67 games. They have a lot of guys who are holes. They're not getting a lot of production from the middle infield. I think one of their corner outfield spots is not great, maybe both. It's just, you know, they had, I think in the ALDS, they won scoreless in 2 games. 2 of those 5 games, they didn't score a single run. So it's a bad lineup. Even Jose Ramirez, like, playoff Judge is worrisome for Yankees fans. Playoff Jose Ramirez hasn't been great. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And their rotation doesn't scare me a ton either. You know, they're very right-handed heavy, even in their bullpen. But their rotation, I mean, Alex Cobb, I'm not scared of Alex Cobb. I didn't even know he was still in the league. I thought he was out. You know, he wasn't relevant. He hasn't been relevant since Tampa. Matthew Boyd, I didn't know he was still pitching. They do have a young righty who pitched in Game 1 who's pretty good. But, like, outside of that, I don't know. McKenzie doesn't scare me. Williams, Allen, you know, Carrasco's old. I don't even know if those guys are going to make the ALCS roster. But, like, there's not a lot of lefties in there, which is a good thing for the Yankees. And it's a team I would expect the Yankees to beat. Again, in a 7-game series, I think the Yankees can handle them. And if you get there, if you beat this team, now you're talking about the Yankees in a World Series. And if you like getting ahead of yourselves, which I hate doing because I'm very superstitious, a lot of people are talking about the possibility of a Subway World Series, right? Winner gets Juan Soto. But it would be cool to beat up on that shitty Mets team. I don't know. I don't think what the Mets are doing is very sustainable. This has been a lot of late game comebacks to save them. They kind of just got hot out of nowhere. But hey, if you would have told me the Yankees and Mets back at the end of September last year would be in the Final Four, like, shit. It's that's a possibility. You could get Yankees-Dodgers, another big draw. That's a classic matchup. You got Judge versus Ohtani. You could get Yankees-Padres, obviously, 1998. But, that's like who won the Juan Soto trade right there. But, again, I don't want to, let's focus on the food that's in front of us. And we have to beat Cleveland. Cleveland's got to be a team you need to beat. It's again, they're more respectable than KC, than Detroit. They're still below the Yankees. The Yankees roster on paper is a lot better than that Cleveland roster. And it's going to be stressful. Playoff baseball is always stressful. It's going to be tight. The LCS is always so stressful just because it's a 7-game series. So one game means so much less now, that the weight is so much less. Like if you win one game, you still have so much more work to do than when you win one game at a best of 5. But yeah, it's man, I'm excited. You got Carlos Rodon officially going game 1 on Monday night tomorrow. He's going to have to be composed. He's going to have to not waste his energy. I loved what I saw early on, but maybe that did kind of contribute to his implosion there. And maybe it'll help that he's pitching at home. He has been better in Yankee Stadium this year. And then the Yankees said they're going Gerrit Cole game 2, Clark Schmidt game 3, and then Luis Gil making his postseason debut in game 4. Some other ALCS roster stuff. The Yankees, I'm hearing that they want another arm. So I don't know if that's going to be Stroman. Maybe it's Poteet. I don't think it's going to be Leiter. Does Rice make the roster this time? They didn't use him in the ALDS. Is Dominguez going to be off the roster? Rizzo might come in. So we'll see what this roster looks like. It's probably going to be out sometime tomorrow, maybe tonight. But I'm excited for the series. There's not going to be any Costas. I think in the booth this series is Anderson, Francoeur, and Darling. So those are your 3 announcers. So I think that's it. Quick episode, 40 minutes here. Not even 33 minutes. So we'll wrap it up here. We'll get to our final break, wrap it up with our trivia, and that'll be that. Stay with us. We'll be right back here on BD4 episode 723.
If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
All right, let's wrap this one up with our trivia question of the day. Okay, for this episode 723, our trivia question: which American League team have the Yankees beaten the most in the playoffs? Which American League team have the Yankees beaten the most in the playoffs? So let me know the answer wherever you can reach me, folks. That's all I got for this show. The Yanks win Game 4. They move on to the LCS to play the Cleveland Guardians. Should be a fun time. Hopefully it's a fun time. Hopefully it's a winning time. And, I don't know, Yankees in 5 would be beautiful. Maybe 6. I'm going to say Yanks in 6. I think it's going to be a grind. All right, folks. Appreciate it. And I'll see you. We're going to try to do episodes every game in this next coming series, too. So hopefully I'll see you after Game 1. Later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees, and go Knicks!